A week after the Night Howler case, Judy and Nick become the center of media attention after successfully solving a shocking case that shakes all of Zootopia. The two manage to expose the false and hypocritical face of Mayor Bellwether, proving the saying, "Don't judge a book by its cover," because a fox is not necessarily evil and a sheep is not always innocent. After that, Judy invites Nick to join the ZPD, short for the Zootopia Police Department, and they officially become the first Rabbit and Fox partner team in the city. Not long afterward, the new Mayor Windancer, who was once an actor, gives a speech at the ceremony celebrating the 100th anniversary of the Lynx-Lay family's invention of the weather walls of Zootopia, a system that allows all environments and all animal species to coexist within the same city. During his speech, he also praises Judy and Nick, pointing out that a small-town rabbit and a sly fox can become police officers by directly setting aside the enormous differences between species and breaking long-standing stereotypes. Perhaps other animals should also learn to accept one another's differences and work together to make Zootopia a better place. However, reality is always far more brutal than imagination. Even within the ZPD, prejudice still exists everywhere. Chief Bogo is announcing another major case, in which a customs inspector turns out to be the leader of a smuggling ring. He quickly assigns missions to police partner teams made up of the same species, hoping that the rookies can learn from their senior officers. At that moment, Officer Clawhauser suddenly appears and informs everyone that Judy and Nick are already at the scene and have begun investigating the case on their own. Judy and Nick disguise themselves as a happily married couple. The moment they step inside, the suspect blocks their path and tries to chase them away, but everything is already part of Nick's plan. Nick immediately breaks down in tears and tells a heartbreaking story about Finnick, who has recently suffered a terrible accident. He explains that this is the reason they come to the harbor to celebrate Finnick's birthday. Nick adds that Finnick is currently in a very fragile and negative emotional state, and he only hopes that a kind customs inspector might be willing to say a few encouraging words to cheer him up. After hearing the story, Anthony is moved and agrees to sign his name on Finnick's leg, which is wrapped in a cast. In order to comfort him, Judy quickly takes advantage of the moment to investigate the smuggled goods. Just as she manages to unlock a container, Chief Bogo's voice suddenly comes through, realizing that he has been exposed. Anthony immediately runs away. Judy and Nick have no idea how they can catch up to him when a passing driver suddenly appears. As a result, they take the driver's vehicle and begin the pursuit. During the chase, Judy and Nick accidentally crash into a container filled with sheep wool. Suddenly, Captain Hogbottom and Truffler appear and demand that the two back off and leave the situation to the senior officers. However, Judy ignores their orders and continues chasing the suspect. Meanwhile, Officers Higgins and Bloat set up a trap ahead, but the plan fails. At this point, only Judy and Nick are still able to keep up with Anthony. In a brief moment of carelessness, Anthony fails to notice what lies ahead and crashes, hitting his head and losing consciousness. When Judy sees the Zoatennial parade in front of her, she realizes that there is no time left. She pushes the vehicle to full speed and asks Nick to take the wheel so that she can jump onto Anthony's car. Because of this decision, Judy successfully prevents a major disaster. When she regains consciousness, she accidentally realizes that there is another animal inside the car, but she does not have time to see it clearly. The only thing Judy manages to find is a piece of snakeskin. After that, the ZPD falls into a state of chaos, while Judy begins investigating reptiles because they are not permitted to appear in Zootopia and are only allowed to live outside the city. Soon after, Judy and Nick are summoned to Chief Bogo's office. However, he completely ignores their efforts and achievements and focuses only on the fact that they have ruined the 100th anniversary celebration. Judy tries to bring up the smuggled container that contains a reptile band in Zootopia, but Chief Bogo maintains his furious expression and refuses to listen. Not only that, Captain Hogbottom and Truffler claim that Judy and Nick are nothing more than one-time shooting stars who shine briefly and then fade away, and that the two of them should return to being traffic police officers and ice cream vendors. Seeing the situation spiral out of control, Chief Bogo orders everyone to leave the room so that he can speak privately with Judy and Nick. Although Chief Bogo still cares about them, he explains that their partnership has been repeatedly damaging the image of the ZPD. He allows Judy and Nick to work together in the first place because of their major contributions to the department, but now in his eyes, they have ruined everything. He raises a harsh question about whether rabbits and foxes can truly work well together. In the end, he removes both of them from the case and assigns them a so-called make-or-break assignment designed specifically for mismatched police partners. Judy and Nick never expect that this assignment means attending therapy classes for mismatched police partners. Dr. Fuzby is in charge of running these sessions in order to help partners bond and cooperate more effectively. Judy insists that she and Nick have been working together for an entire week since the anniversary and that there has been no problem at all. However, Dr. Fuzby points out that Judy constantly refuses to let Nick speak, that she is visibly anxious and keeps tapping her foot to suppress it, and that Nick's emotional insecurity is actually the source of her discomfort as the therapy session begins. Judy and Nick stare at what is unfolding in the room in complete disbelief. Later, the two of them get into an argument. Judy desperately wants to prove herself to Chief Bogo, while Nick only wants to stay quiet and avoid drawing any attention. The moment they step outside, they are mocked by the other officers. Officers Higgins and Bloats even draw caricatures of the two of them on their own bellies to ridicule them, despite their disagreements about how to work. Judy and Nick still hold a special place for each other deep in their hearts. After returning to her room, Nick focuses only on enjoying life while Judy is forced to answer her parents' calls as they repeatedly ask about Nick. Judy's parents believe that there is nothing wrong with sacrificing a little in order to find common ground. But Judy is far too exhausted after everything that has happened, so she can only hang up the phone. Later, Judy studies for her partner therapy class, but her attention suddenly shifts to a report about the Zootopia Gala. The report states that the Lynx-Lay Journal will be publicly displayed for the first time since the reptile attack. Because it contains the patent and original plans for the weather walls, it will be guarded with extreme security. When Judy sees a van driving past on the television screen, she immediately realizes that it looks exactly like the vehicle Anthony Snootley was driving earlier, the same one that contained a piece of snakeskin. She quickly searches online for information about the history of the Lynx-Lay family and is shocked to discover that the 100th anniversary is also the day commemorating the snake attack on Zootopia. A tortoise who worked for the Lynx-Lay family was bitten while stopping a snake from stealing the journal, and since that incident no snakes have been seen in Zootopia. Meanwhile, Nick is watching a movie when he suddenly receives a call from Judy. She tells him that the van from earlier belongs to the same catering company, and she suspects that snakes are planning to attack the Zootopia Gala. Before Nick can even process what is happening, Judy appears right in front of his house. Nick worries that if they make one more mistake, Chief Bogo will separate them for good, but Judy is determined to prove that a rabbit and a fox can become a strong and reliable partner team. In the end, Nick can only give in and follow her lead. The two decide to disguise themselves as traffic police officers to make it easier to operate. At the same time, the Zootopia Gala is underway and the Lynx-Lay family is welcoming their guests. As expected, the crime boss also makes an appearance due to his high status and reputation. In addition to that, Mayor Windancer arrives in a strikingly bold and confident style. Meanwhile, Judy and Nick arrive at the Zootopia Gala and begin observing the catering vans from a distance. Judy quickly identifies a van that is free of snow and still warm, because reptiles need heat in order to survive the cold climate of Zootopia. When she notices a door slightly ajar ahead, Judy hands Nick his disguise and then slips into an elegant evening gown herself so that she can blend in with the formal atmosphere of the Zootopia Gala. Shortly afterward, the two successfully infiltrate the venue, relying on his experience with blending into high-profile events. Nick quickly teaches Judy how to behave at a party like this. Not only that, he also casually steals a bracelet from a bear and uses it to charm her, asking her to escort him through the security checkpoint. Next, Judy prepares to approach the Lynx-Lay Journal and asks Nick to stand watch for her. The moment Nick spots Chief Bogo nearby, he immediately warns Judy. However, during a brief moment of distraction, Judy accidentally bumps into a young lynx. Seeing how awkward Paulbert reacts, Judy takes the initiative to ease the tension and smooth things over. As soon as she introduces herself, Paulbert openly expresses his admiration for her. The two quickly fall into an easy and lively conversation, and the entire scene is witnessed by Nick from a distance. Watching his partner smile so brightly at a stranger makes Nick feel uncomfortable. Just as he is about to suggest that they leave, he accidentally discovers a piece of snakeskin nearby. At the same time, the other children of the Lynx-Lay family escort Paulbert away in order to clear the path for their father. Shortly afterward, Mayor Windancer steps forward to introduce the third-generation heir of the Lynx-Lay family. Meanwhile, as Nick continues searching for signs of the intruder, he accidentally runs into Chief Bogo. Nick is detained before he can report what he has discovered. Even so, Nick reacts quickly and kicks a nearby lamp. forcing the light to shine directly onto the intruder. The moment the intruder's identity is revealed, chaos erupts across the Zootopia Gala. Gary swiftly grabs Milton and escapes with the Linksley Journal. During the escape, he unintentionally exposes the secret of the Lion Chef. Not long afterward, Gary drags Milton into a private room and prepares to retrieve the journal, but Judy intercepts him. Contrary to Judy's expectations, Gary turns out to be timid and frightened. He insists that his kind has never harmed anyone and explains that all he wants is the secret contained within the Linksley Journal, so that he can prove reptiles are innocent and allow his people to return to their homeland. At that very moment, Nick strikes Gary unconscious with a frying pan. Milton then demands that Judy and Nick kill Gary, while he plans to burn the Linksley Journal in order to bury the truth forever. On top of that, Milton orders them to report back to the ZPD and claim that the snakes launched the attack voluntarily. Just as the Linksley family prepares to act, Judy manages to turn the situation around. She attempts to rescue Gary, but Gary suddenly regains consciousness and accidentally bites Chief Bogo on the head. At that moment, Captain Hogbottom and Truffalo witness everything, while the Linksley family deliberately fuels the chaos by accusing Judy and Nick of being accomplices of the snakes and insisting that they must be eliminated, as Gary is thrown down below. His mysterious partner suddenly appears. Meanwhile, Judy snatches the Linksley Journal and jumps after Nick without hesitation, with no clear escape route. Judy and Nick accidentally collide with the car belonging to Mr. Big. He immediately orders his men to hide Judy and Nick in the trunk to protect them. Shortly afterward, news breaks on television reporting that snakes have attacked the Zootopia Gala. The broadcast claims that the snake was backed by Judy and Nick, and as a result, all three are now being aggressively hunted as the situation grows increasingly tense. Mayor Windancer attempts to lighten the atmosphere with humor. However, behind the glamorous image on screen, Mayor Windancer is nothing more than a puppet controlled by the Linksley family. Milton demands that the Linksley Journal be recovered and that the three animals disappear. Even though this order clearly violates the law, Mayor Windancer still obeys, proving that the law does not always stand for justice. Meanwhile, as Judy and Nick remain on the run, Judy suddenly receives a call from her parents. Without hesitation, she turns off the phone, and Nick immediately destroys it, knowing that it would be the first thing used to track their location. Next, Nick wants to demonstrate his negotiation skills in the criminal underworld for Judy, but he is unexpectedly seized and taken to a warehouse. Mr. Big and Frou Frou appear soon after, and it is revealed that they are now business partners in the fashion industry. They also proudly introduce a new member of the family, Judith, Frou Frou's daughter and Mr. Big's granddaughter. When Nick casually comments that Judith has grown so fast, he is immediately scolded. It turns out that Arctic shrews grow at an extremely rapid pace, reaching adulthood within just 1 to 2 months. Their maximum lifespan is only around 1 to 1.5 years, which makes their entire life cycle painfully short. Nick's innocent compliment about Judith growing quickly unintentionally becomes a bad omen for the Arctic shrew species. Next, Mr. Big and Frou Frou prepare new clothes, new identities, and a new truck to help Judy and Nick make their escape. However, Judy insists on staying behind because she wants to clear her name after the Linksley family pins the blame on them. Mr. Big warns her that lynxes are extremely cunning creatures. They are highly territorial by nature, and the expansion of Tundra Town only makes them more dangerous. He says that if Judy dares to interfere with their plans, they will not hesitate to eliminate her without mercy. His advice is simple: it is far wiser to stay out of their way than to foolishly confront them head-on. But Judy shows no fear at all. Instead, she bluntly declares that she will take down the Linksley family herself. Meanwhile, Nick is already trying to change his clothes so he can escape as soon as possible, forcing Judy to stop him. She explains that she believes the snakes have been wrongly accused and that she needs more information about the Linksley Journal. Mr. Big suggests that if snakes are involved, Judy should head to the reptile district. At present, reptiles live separately from the rest of the city, keeping to themselves in Marsh Market. After that, Judy and Nick meet Nibbles, a reptile expert who is also a local familiar with every corner of the area. The moment Nick lays eyes on Nibbles, he immediately has second thoughts and insists that the two of them should just run away instead. One look at the situation makes it easy to understand why Nick reacts this way. Judy still negotiates with him and asks for just 24 hours to deal with the problem. If they fail, she promises that she will follow Nick's escape plan without argument. Nibbles then leads Judy and Nick into Marsh Market, a district where aquatic animals usually live. She explains that when Zootopia was first established, this entire area was cut off from the city. Because of that, the residents here live like a stateless community, following their own rules and customs, and they do not even care about wearing clothes. Nick feels confident that he can blend in since he has been living independently since the age of 12. What he does not expect is that he will mistake sea lions for seals, or that he will have no idea that fish are used as currency here instead of money. Soon the trio arrives at the ferry dock. Nibbles greets the locals, but all Judy and Nick see is the pair constantly spitting water and repeating the phrase "Hey Bubs," even though Judy and Nick do not understand a single word. Nibbles successfully negotiates a deal and secures a living ferry to give the trio a ride. During the trip, instead of watching the route, Russ stares directly at his passengers. He even assumes that Judy and Nick are celebrating an anniversary, so he turns on colorful lights to make the ride feel more festive. Before long, the trio arrives at a vertically sunken ship. At this point, Nick finally opens up to Judy and talks about his deep discomfort around reptiles. In response, Judy pretends to scare him, and the two of them end up acting so ridiculously that Nibbles is left completely speechless. However, she still makes sure to remind them of an important rule. Whenever they are offered food here, they must always accept it, because refusing an invitation to eat is considered a serious sign of disrespect. The secret reptile hangout is filled with monitor lizards playing musical instruments, and it even serves fast food. A warning echoes through the space, reminding visitors to watch their step or they might accidentally tear off someone else's tail. Eventually, Nibbles leads Judy and Nick to meet her friend Jesus. Following local tradition, a plate of earthworms is brought out immediately, since eating always comes before negotiation. With no real choice, Judy and Nick force themselves to comply. However, Nick is unlucky enough to pick the largest worm on the plate. The result is that both of them nearly throw up. What they do not realize is that they have become the target of a prank. Jesus bursts out laughing and reveals that he is only teasing them, because reptiles here do not actually eat that dish at all. After that, he begins to talk about the Linksley journal. He explains that its cover is made of metal, and only snakes are capable of seeing the hidden markings etched into its surface. Judy cannot understand why a journal belonging to lynxes would be connected to snakes, although Jesus does not know the answer either. He points out that if a turtle has already lost its life because of it, then the truth behind the journal must be far more complicated than it seems. Jesus also talks about how reptiles have long been looked down upon by other animals. He explains that the moment reptiles left Zootopia was also the moment the Linksley family began expanding Tundra Town. Even now, that expansion continues, and it will not be long before Marsh Market is completely leveled. At that very moment, the ZPD tracks down Judy and Nick's hiding place. As soon as the police appear, the secret reptile hangout plunges into chaos. Seizing the opportunity, Jesus leads Judy and Nick away and helps them escape. He says that he believes in them because they have already saved Zootopia once before. If Judy and Nick succeed again, he is certain that other animals will finally see reptiles in a different light. Just as Officers Higgins and Bloats appear, Gary snatches the Linksley journal. Although Judy explains that they are trying to help the snakes, Gary does not believe her and runs away. As a result, Judy and Nick have to chase after him desperately for their lives. On top of that, they are being hunted by the ZPD. Seeing that they are about to be caught, Judy summons walruses and uses them as stepping stones to escape. Just as Officers Higgins and Bloats are about to capture Judy and Nick, Nibbles appears. She also warns the duo not to follow Gary if he jumps into the red line, because they will be in danger and will not have enough air to breathe before Nick can warn Judy. She goes through the red line and both of them are sucked into a hazardous tube. Nick tries to convince Judy to stop because she might be in serious danger, but Judy insists on continuing. Fortunately, there are escape routes along the tube. Just as Judy is about to run out of breath, Nick grabs her and guides her toward the escape path. Even though they are now safe, Nick wants Judy to apologize, but Judy misunderstands him and thinks that he is trying to apologize to her. They start arguing when suddenly Judy's attention is drawn to the snake's fanny pack that Gary has accidentally dropped. At that moment, two mountain goats notice Judy and Nick in trouble and want to help. Nick is about to give up when Judy suddenly asks the goats where the pipe ahead leads. Not only do the goats answer her, but they also give Judy and Nick some flowers. Seeing that they resemble the flowers depicted on the matchbox, Judy asks about their origin. The two mountain goats explain that these flowers only bloom at the very top of the mountain. They also mention the abandoned honeymoon lodge that has once been used as a snake hideout. Judy and Nick then have to climb to the top of the mountain. In contrast to Judy's enthusiasm, Nick is nearly exhausted. Moreover, Nick takes out her carrot pen and smugly plays back her previously recorded sentiment. "I really am just a dumb bunny" over and over again in a dance remix. Judy explains that the carrot pin symbolizes their camaraderie, but the two continue to argue and accidentally drop it, even though it is meaningful to both of them as a marker of their first victory together. Judy has to set aside her sadness in order to focus on the mission. The atmosphere becomes tense when suddenly the ZPD appears at the foot of the mountain. Judy and Nick successfully infiltrate the honeymoon lodge. While looking around, Judy finds numerous snakeskins left behind. Meanwhile, Nick accidentally steps on a piece of rotten wood, although he is unharmed. His action inadvertently alerts the ZPD to their presence. At the same time, Judy discovers clues that Gary has gathered, which reveal that there used to be an ancient city district called Reptile Ravine. But the Linksley family has taken over the land and buried the area. Just then Nick reappears and informs her that the ZPD has found both of them. While Judy wants to take all the clues with her, Nick is only concerned about how they can escape. They continue arguing and the tension reaches its peak when Nick says he does not care about the case and that he does not want Judy to risk her life like that. The world will never be a better place if no one is brave enough to do the right thing. Life is just like that, and sometimes being a hero does not change anything. At that moment, Judy realizes that their incompatibility in their work is not due to their species, but because they have different perspectives on life. The situation becomes even more critical when the ZPD suddenly appears. Buchanan and Chevre quickly attack and split the honeymoon lodge in two, separating Judy and Nick. Just as Judy is about to be in danger, Paul Bert appears, revealing himself as Gary's mysterious teammate. However, the danger is far from over, as Judy is fighting for her life. Taking advantage of the ZPD's distraction, Nick manages to escape. He tries to find Judy only to discover that she has been shot with a tranquilizer. Luckily, Paul Bert manages to catch her, but he does not have much time and can only take Judy with him. Nick is then knocked unconscious and captured by the ZPD. Judy wakes up but cannot see Nick anywhere. Gary and Paul Bert have to inform her that Nick has been captured. Meanwhile, Nick is brought before Mayor Windancer, who demands to know where Judy is. "I don't know, but you know, she is a rabbit, so maybe you can pull her out of your hat." Feeling mocked, so Mayor Windancer immediately orders Nick into his car. At that moment, Milton appears, seeing that Nick is not cooperating. He proceeds to expand Tundra Town, flattening the Marsh Market and driving all the reptiles away. Just then, a member of the Linksley family discovers the fur of an accomplice, leading Milton to realize that Paul Bert is involved in the scheme. Meanwhile, Paul Bert leads Judy and Gary to a hideout. However, because prejudice against snakes still exists in this area, Gary can only hide inside the sidecar. He reassures Judy that his fangs carry an antidote, so she doesn't need to worry. Paul Bert then brings them to his personal tent, a place he often retreats to whenever he wants to distance himself from the Linksley family. Seeing so many new things for the first time makes Gary act like an excited child. But Judy is more curious about how the two of them ever become partners. Gary explains that when he learns the Linksley journal will be displayed, he sends an anonymous letter to the Linksley family and hopes to see it. By coincidence, Paul Bert is working in the records office at the time, reads the letter, and decides to help him. The three light a fire so Gary can decode the Linksley journal. Paul Bert explains that pit vipers can see heat, which means Gary can detect hidden images on the metal cover, images no mammal can see. At last, the truth comes to light. The true owner of the Linksley journal is never the Linksley family. From the very beginning, Zootopia is founded by Snakes, who is Gary's great-grandmother. She wants to build a city where all species can coexist, so she invents the weather wall, although she holds the patent and has a business partner. She never expects that partner to betray her. Paul Bert's great-grandfather is driven by greed, so he seizes the patent for himself. A turtle maid who witnesses the betrayal is silenced and Gary's great-grandmother is framed. History is rewritten, portraying reptiles as villains and forcing them beyond the weather wall. Paul Bert's great-grandfather then buries the reptiles' living area under layers of snow, unaware that the original patent still exists, hidden in Gary's great-grandmother's home. If they can find it, they can clear the snakes' names and restore the truth for all reptiles. However, that land now lies buried beneath the snowfields controlled by the Linksley family. Judy suggests searching for the buried clock tower. If they can restart it and look down from above, they can locate Gary's ancestral home. The tower is now revealed to be on the land of Linksley Manor. None of them realize that the Linksley family has already tracked them through Paul Bert's phone. Meanwhile, Nick is taken to prison, where he runs into familiar faces, criminals that he and Judy personally put away. Nick tries to explain, but Hogbottom, who already dislikes him, refuses to listen. When news breaks that the Linksley family has found Judy, Nick's anxiety intensifies. As despair sets in, he hears the voice he least wants to hear. That is Nibbles, who is also captured and held in the cell across from him. She talks nonstop, which forces Nick to beg her to stay quiet so he can focus on finding a way out. Unsure of what the future holds, Nick finally opens up. He admits that he has lived his entire life in loneliness and doesn't want to lose Judy. More than anything, he doesn't want her risking her life for the mission. Overcome with emotion, Nick is caught off guard when Nibbles suddenly hugs him. At that moment, they hear that Judy is spotted in the desert and they immediately plan their escape. Their first obstacle is the ZPD, followed by the sudden appearance of Bellwether. Eventually, Nick and Nibbles find an exit, only for Nick to realize too late that the button he presses unlocks every cell in the facility. Despite the chaos, they manage to escape. Seeing that all police vehicles are already taken by other inmates, Nick quickly calls Flash, a sloth famous for his unbelievable driving speed. Nibbles doubts Flash's skills at first, but within seconds she grips her seatbelt tightly. At the same time, Judy explains the plan when Gary suddenly interrupts her, saying, "My family spends 100 years trying to prove we're not what everyone thinks we are, but even now they never want me to carry the weight of the world on my shoulders, because I don't have any shoulders." Meanwhile, Nick contacts Officer Clawhauser and asks for help, requesting him to track the Zebros to locate Judy. Even though Nick is now considered a criminal, Clawhauser still chooses to help him. Elsewhere, Judy, Gary and Paubert reach the desert, only to find themselves facing the Burning Mammal Festival while being chased by the ZPD. Judy realizes that Paubert's phone is the reason they are discovered. With no other option, the trio abandons their vehicle and cuts straight through the festival, accidentally bursting into a tent housing Gazelle. Fortunately, Gazelle sides with Judy and helps them escape, not only out of trust but also because she holds a personal grudge against the Zebros. Meanwhile, the Linksley family learns that Judy is heading toward the weather wall to search for the clock tower. Not wanting their carefully hidden plan to be exposed, they order the ZPD to eliminate her directly without using tranquilizers. Although the Boar team hesitates, the Hippo team accidentally pulls the trigger. Judy is about to shield Paubert when Flash's car rushes in just in time. There is no time to waste, so she keeps running forward to find the power station. Nick fails to make it inside before the weather system begins heating up. At the same time, the station's workers panic and flee the moment they see Gary. With the help of the Linksley Journal, Judy, Gary, and Paubert successfully locate the power switch that turns on Reptile Ravine's lights. In the end, all three finally find the location of Gary's great-grandmother's house. Only then does Judy notice that Nick is trapped outside while the temperature continues to rise. Fortunately, Nibbles appears just in time. But Judy never expects Paubert to betray them at the last moment. He throws Gary out into the snow, leaving him unable to move. Paubert then reveals his true plan. The Linksley family has always looked down on him and he wants to prove his worth. And what better chance than destroying the original patent with my own hands, burying my family's secret forever. Even though Judy begs Paubert to stop, he is never truly a good person to begin with. Meanwhile, Nick and Nibbles split up to search for the others, but Nibbles is unlucky enough to be attacked by Paubert. Nick is searching another area when Paubert suddenly appears, and he immediately realizes that something is wrong. At the same time, Judy is no longer able to move and can only watch as Nick is placed in danger. She blames herself for being unable to help, but Gary tells her that she is wrong. The world was never meant to rest on one animal's shoulders. That's why my great-grandma wants Zootopia to be for everyone, so we can all help each other. Gary thanks Judy for choosing to help him and for becoming his first best warm-blooded friend. With the warmth from Judy, Gary slowly regains his strength. Just then, the ZPD suddenly storms in and mistakenly believes that Gary is harming Judy. Meanwhile, Paubert tells Nick that Judy did not survive, hoping to break his spirit. But after everything Nick has endured, there is no way he gives up so easily. As he struggles back, Gary suddenly tells him that Paubert is carrying the antivenom that can save Judy, so Nick must get it as quickly as possible. Suddenly, the ice beneath them cracks, pushing both Nick and Paubert into a life-threatening situation. When the antivenom slips and begins to fall, Paubert urges Nick to give up, saying it is not worth risking his life. Nick once says the same words himself, but now he has a reason to risk everything because he wants to save Judy. Judy wakes up and immediately runs toward Nick. With all her worry and care, she manages to reach him just in time and saves him at the very last second. Seeing that Nick is safe, both of them finally breathe a sigh of relief. Only now do they speak what has been buried in their hearts. I don't care that we're different. What I care about is you. I care about you. I should have said it, but I didn't. Because I'm emotionally insecure and bad at expressing my feelings. Maybe because I've been on my own my whole life. And you're the best thing that ever happens to me. No one else in the world matters more to me than you do. Nick's honesty moves Judy and she finally reveals her own truth. I try too hard because deep down I'm afraid I really am what everyone thinks I am. I hide my discomfort because I'm scared it makes me look weak, and I want to be strong. I don't even believe in myself, but you do. And no one else in the world matters more to me than you do either. Their moment is suddenly interrupted by Nibbles and Gary. That is when they learn that Pawbird is still alive and is heading toward Gary's great-grandmother's house. Even without knowing the full story, Nick gets into the car without hesitation and joins Judy to stop him. Meanwhile, Pawbird returns home and is confronted by Milton. He quickly reveals his true intention to destroy the original patent. Pawbird does not realize that Mayor Windancer is also present, forcing Milton to warn Windancer to keep his mouth shut. At that moment, Nibbles breaks the lock and all four of them appear. Nibbles and Gary stay behind to handle the others, while Judy and Nick chase after Pawbird. Meanwhile, Pawbird manages to obtain a jerry can of gas and a matchbox and heads straight toward a giant maze. At the same time, Judy and Nick find a vehicle and chase after him. With no other option left, Pawbird runs at full speed. Judy and Nick seize the moment when he is not paying attention and rush in. Judy snatches the matchbox and uses her combat training to fight Pawbird. But Pawbird is not an easy opponent and he quickly turns the situation around, overpowering both Judy and Nick, just as the two of them are in serious danger. Nibbles and Gary arrive in time and pull them out of harm's way. Elsewhere, Mayor Windancer grows tired of being a puppet for the Linksley family. He no longer wants to listen to them disrespect justice or mock him as nothing more than a comedian. Meanwhile, the group of four enters the clock tower and descends into Reptile Ravine. The moment Judy adjusts one streetlight, the surrounding lights begin to turn on one by one. The scene around them shows clearly that reptiles are not frightening at all. It is only because of a false history that spreads lies about them. Before long, Gary finds his great-grandmother's house and is stunned to see that everything inside remains almost untouched, as if time never passes. Soon after, Gary discovers the original patent. At that exact moment, Pawbird suddenly appears again. This time, however, Captain Hogbottom and Truffler stand on the side of justice and knock Pawbird unconscious with a frying pan. News of Judy and Nick solving yet another shocking case quickly makes the front page. This time, the two of them gain two new partners, Nibbles and Gary. The truth about the real inventor of the weather walls and the original patent finally comes to light. The Linksley family is not only arrested but also publicly condemned for stealing someone else's achievements. The plan to expand Tundra Town is officially canceled, and Marsh Market is preserved. After more than 100 years, reptiles are finally able to return to their homeland. Nick repairs the carrot pen and gives it back to Judy, but their journey does not end there. During the prison escape, Nick accidentally frees Bellwether. Now the two of them have no choice but to set out again and bring her back behind bars.